Hey, this is Chris Franco, and you are listening to Compound Money Quietly, the CMQ Investing Podcast. CMQ investors, thank you for tuning in. Robinhood is angry at Warren Buffett over some comments that Warren Buffett made at the 2021 Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting. That meeting just took place this past weekend. One of our listeners reminded me to mention this. If you are listening in the future and you hear us begin to mention a current event that is no longer current, don't worry. The episode is still all about some form of time-tested investing wisdom. We just use the current events to make those discussions a little bit more fluid and relatable. One more announcement, and this is unrelated. Listening to episode 5 and episode 9, if you haven't already, will make this episode more informative and more entertaining because you'll have the full backstory. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. Yahoo Finance published an article on May 3rd titled, Robinhood Responds to Buffett and Munger After They Insulted New Generation of Investors. I'm going to read portions of that. I will jump in with commentary. When we conclude going through the article, I'm going to share my perspective on what I interpreted from Warren Buffett's statements about Robinhood. This article, by the way, was written by Julia LaRoche. Commission-free trading app Robinhood responded to comments made by billionaire investing legends Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger on Saturday, claiming the pair insulted a new generation of investors for doing things in a new way. If the last year has taught us anything, it is that people are tired of the Warren Buffetts and Charlie Mungers of the world acting like they are the only oracles of investing. And at Robinhood, we're not going to sit back while they disparage everyday people for taking control of their financial lives. Jacqueline Ortiz Ramsey, head of public policy communications at Robinhood, wrote in a blog post on Monday. It sounds like fighting words to me. Like, this is kind of how I hear it.
We're not just going to sit back and let you disparage us.
Hell no.
I'll get on a plane to Omaha right now and I'll kick your Warren Buffett. Kick him in the butt.
The article continues. Ramsey added that Robinhood is proud for making investing simpler and more accessible to more people. The communications exec asserted that Robinhood and other no-fee platforms have opened the doors of financial markets to everyday people, deeply unsettling the old guard who will fight to keep things the same. She went on to tout the app's fractional share ownership offering. This is a good point for Robinhood to call out, by the way, because I think this is actually one of their strong suits. Ramsey goes on to say that at Robinhood, people now don't need thousands of dollars to begin investing. We pioneered commission-free trading, and fractional shares make it possible for people with less money to invest in a piece of a stock. Take Berkshire Hathaway Class A stock. One share trades for north of $400,000. But with Robinhood, fans of the company can invest what they can afford and don't need to amass what is a prohibitive sum for most Americans. I love how they failed to mention that there is something called Berkshire Hathaway B. That's Robinhood for you. We tell you our story, not the full story. Robinhood. The article continues. Plenty of Robinhood customers do just that by buying a fraction of Berkshire Hathaway stock, as well as many other stocks that Mr. Buffett and Mr. Munger have invested in. In fact, we see that a majority of Robinhood customers are buying and holding. At Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting on Saturday, Buffett said he's, quote, looking forward, end quote, to reading Robinhood's S1 as he proceeded to subtly criticize the no-fee brokerage app. Buffett said Robinhood has, quote, become a very significant part of the casino aspect of the casino group that has joined into the stock market in the last year or year and a half, end quote. A wave of new investors has flooded the stock market with lockdowns, no-fee trading, and stimulus checks making it easier to open up a brokerage account and start trading. Robinhood points out that, quote, retail investing in America is thriving today because everyday investors are seizing the opportunity to build their own nest egg. Robinhood also noted that, quote, technology is the great equalizer. When it comes to investing, equal opportunity and accessibility is exactly what Robinhood is built to provide, end quote. With free trading, Buffett said, it would be interesting to watch how Robinhood describes its source of income in the S1. An S1, by the way, that's a Form S1, and this is something that is available on any company that goes public. They have to provide it to the SEC, and it includes basic business information, their financial information, and what Warren Buffett is implying is that they will have to describe how they make their money in the S1. So they will have to explain that, hey, our trades are free because we can make more money off our customers through payment for order flow, than we would if we actually charged them commissions for their trades. So it'll expose the misaligned incentives here, where what's good for Robinhood is not good for their customers. That's what Buffett is getting at. Buffett then pointed out that Robinhood's commission-free trading has resulted in a surge in put and call options trading that's quote-unquote gambling on the price of Apple. Warren Buffett goes on to say that there's nothing illegal about it, there's nothing immoral, but I don't think you'd build a society around people doing it. Buffett continued, I think the degree to which a very rich society can reward the people who know how to take advantage of the gambling instincts of not only the American public, but the worldwide public. It's not the most admirable part of the accomplishment. While reiterating his thesis that American corporations are a wonderful place for people to put their money and save, he added that they also make terrific gambling chips. Quote, and if you cater to those gambling chips when people have money in their pocket for the first time, and you tell them make 30 or 40 or 50 trades a day, and you're not charging commission, but you're selling their order flow, I hope we don't have more of it. Meanwhile, Munger took a much stronger stance against Robinhood, calling it, quote, god-awful that something like that would draw investment from civilized men and decent citizens, end quote. It's deeply wrong. We don't want to make our money selling things that are bad for people, Munger continued. Buffett chimed in, bringing up the lotteries put on by states. I know, but that's bad too, Munger said. That's very bad. That's one of the things that's wrong with it. It's getting respectable people to do these things. The states are just as bad as Robinhood. Buffett added that the states, in a sense, are worse because they're taxing hope. By the way, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett have called the lottery, and don't quote me on this, but they've described it as a tax on the poor. There's only one more paragraph, but it just talks about what Charlie Munger had previously said at the Daily Journal meeting about Robinhood, which we've covered extensively in episode 5 and episode 9. So let's get right to the discussion. Okay, first things first. This statement that Robinhood released in response to what was said about them at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, it shares one element in common with the statement that we covered in episode 9. That is, drumroll, it fails to address the real criticism. The criticism being, Robinhood makes most of its money when its customers behave in a way that is detrimental to their long-term wealth. This larger point that Warren Buffett made is that there's a casino-like atmosphere where there's more people flooding into the casinos than leaving every day, and in the long run, that's not going to work out very well. If you watch the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, in no way was he criticizing the people that are going into the casinos. It's so disingenuous to try to frame it like that. It's just disingenuous, and it seems to be characteristic of a company that is kind of disingenuous about a lot of things. The point I'm making, and that Warren Buffett is making, is that if you are trading on Robinhood, you are being made a sucker. You are making lots of money for Robinhood by doing something that's not good for you. Point blank, period. If you have counter evidence, if you have empirical evidence that shows otherwise, please provide it. I will happily read it out loud. I am not closed-minded in my views, but all the evidence I've looked to and being as objective as humanly possible leads to the same conclusion. That conclusion being, Robinhood makes lots of money when you do something that's not good for you. Period. Now, speaking of things that are good for you, Charlie Munger says the best thing that a human being can do is help another human being know more. If you learned something from this episode that you think someone else would benefit from also knowing, share it with them. It goes a long way. Also, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a 5-star review. Make sure you subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other streaming platform that you're using. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, or you just want to say, hey, you can reach me directly. Franco@cmqinvesting.com. Franco. Make sure to sign up for our free newsletter at cmqinvesting.com and receive the posts that we send out with every new episode as soon as those episodes go live. cmqinvesting.com. Thank you again for listening to the CMQ Investing Podcast. My name is Chris Franco. We'll talk soon.